You know those conversations where every single word, it feels like it could tip the scales between success and total failure? Well, today, we're going to dive into a framework that's built for exactly those moments. It's called the Dual Mode Elicitation Model, or DEM for short. And honestly, it might just change the way you think about communication, period. All right, so to really get why a framework like this is so important, let's just jump into a scenario. Imagine you are right in the middle, the absolute dead center of a massive corporate crisis. I mean, the pressure is on and every single word matters. So, what do you do? I mean, how do you navigate that? When the stakes are that high, what's the right move? Is there even a right way to communicate? Okay, picture this. A huge, beloved tech giant gets hit with a major data breach. We're talking customer trust just evaporating. The stock is in a free fall. In a moment like that, communication isn't just, a part of the plan. It is the plan. It's everything. And this exact kind of pressure cooker situation, that's what the DEM framework was designed for. So, what's the secret sauce here? Well, it turns out the core of DEM is actually surprisingly simple. It all boils down to this fundamental duality, these two totally distinct modes of influence. And the real magic is learning how to switch between them depending on what the situation calls for. So let's break these two modes down. On one hand, you've got directive mode. This is all about clarity, structure, and just decisive action. Think of a fire chief shouting clear, simple instructions. The goal is focus, right? Pure focus. Then, on the other hand, you have exploratory mode. This is the complete opposite. It's all about fostering discovery, listening, getting feedback, basically bringing people together. Think of a big brainstorming session or a town hall where the real goal is just to listen and get everyone on the same page. It's all about alignment. And this right here, this is the real key. Because look, knowing these two modes exist, that's one thing. But the real power of DEM, it's in mastering that seamless transition between them. It's knowing instinctively when to lay down the law and be directive, and when to open things up and be exploratory. That right there is the game changer. Okay, so what's really fascinating is that this framework didn't just pop up out of nowhere. No way. Its roots go deep. I mean, really deep. We're talking psychology, philosophy, and even the very early days of artificial intelligence. And you can see that rich history right here. I mean, DEM is built on this core idea from William James that we actively build our own reality. Then it pulls from Alfred Korzybski's incredible insight that the language we use literally shapes that reality. And it even draws from Alan Turing's work on AI, asking, can machines think? Which is really a question about how we think. All these brilliant minds, all their ideas, they all feed into why this framework is so powerful. And one of the absolute cornerstone ideas here comes from Korzybski. The map is not the territory. So what on earth does that mean? Well, it just means that our words, our mental models, our beliefs, they're like a map. They're just a representation of reality. They aren't reality itself. And this is so fundamental to DEM because if you can help shape someone's map, you can totally influence how they navigate the territory. And isn't it wild to think about how our journey to understand our own minds has run in parallel with our quest to build intelligent machines? I mean, it's really no coincidence. Both fields are wrestling with the same big questions. How do we process information? How do we make decisions? How do we construct our understanding of the world around us? The insights from one field just keep fueling the other. Okay, so that's enough of the theory. Let's get practical. Let's look at how these concepts actually get put into practice with some of the really cool techniques from the DEM toolkit. First up, we have a technique called contextual anchoring. So this is all about strategically using cues. It could be anything, a symbol, a specific phrase, even a simple gesture to guide people's thoughts and emotions. These anchors basically help steer the conversation and keep everyone focused on a shared idea. Super powerful. Next, we've got adaptive influence modulation, or AIM, which is way easier to say. Think of this as the art of reading the room. It's about being able to dynamically adjust your communication style, your whole message, based on the real-time feedback you're getting from your audience. It's what makes sure your message actually lands and connects with people. All right, let's put it all together in a real-world example. Imagine a big corporation is going through a rebrand after a merger, and it's messy. There's internal resistance, customers are confused, it's a whole thing. So what do? First, leadership steps in with directive mode. They use contextual anchoring, bam, here's the new logo, here's the powerful new slogan, to create a clear, unified identity. But then, and this is the crucial part, they switch. During town halls, they shift into exploratory mode. They use AIM, they're actively listening to employee feedback, they're adjusting their messaging on the fly to address real concerns. And what's the outcome? A brand that isn't just pushed from the top down, but one that everyone from the inside out actually feels connected to. That's DEM in action.
So, as you can probably tell, this is an incredibly powerful framework. And of course, with that kind of power comes a really crucial responsibility. You have to understand the ethics of using it. There's a quote from the source material that it gets right to the heart of this whole thing. It goes, "Every narrative we hold about ourselves, others, or the world is a lens through which we see reality. The power of constructing and deconstructing narratives is the ability to reshape those lenses." Just think about that for a second. When you have the power to reshape the lenses people see the world through, that's a profound level of influence. And this brings us to a really important point about this framework. This is not about manipulation, not at all. The real goal is alignment. It's about fostering coherence and creating a shared understanding. And for it to be used ethically, it absolutely demands transparency and a deep, genuine respect for the autonomy of every single person involved. That's non-negotiable. And so that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. When you have the tools to consciously shape perception, where do you draw the line? Where does influence end and manipulation begin? It's something anyone who uses a framework this powerful has to constantly, and I mean constantly, ask himself.